and welcome back. I am Double JTV once again, and to continue the spirit of spooky season, we are going to discuss witches, and dive into what I believe is an underrated gem. Of course, I'm talking about the greatest witch movie of all time, 2013's Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters. What? Did you think we were going to do something lame like the Blair Witch Project?
No.
So, let's get right into it. Released January 25th, 2013, and directed by Tommy Wirkola in his first major studio movie, Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters is a fantasy horror movie starring Jeremy Renner, you know, Hawkeye from the Marvel movies, Gemma Arterton, and Famke Janssen. It has just a 17% on Rotten Tomatoes and an IMDb score of 6.1 out of 10. So, you know, obviously critics didn't love it. Made with a $50 million budget, and it finished its theatrical run making $226 million, making it a financial success at the box office. Currently, there is no sequel, but with current Hollywood the way it is right now, I'm sure we'll get 3 sequels and probably 2 prequels, all starring Jared Leto by the end of 2030. Anyway, we start our story with Kid Hansel and Gretel being abandoned by their parents in the forest for reasons the movie doesn't want us to know yet. And just like in every Hansel and Gretel story, they come across a gingerbread candy house that would make the fat kid from Willy Wonka cream his pants. But of course, the gingerbread house is home to the famous witch from the stories. They are both then imprisoned by said witch, and Hansel is forced to eat candy to fatten him up, and this later leads to him having diabetes.
Don't make fun of my diabetes, I'm Scott Malkinson.
And some stuff happens, and they end up finding out they are immune to magic and end up killing the witch. Fast forward like 10 years or something, and Hansel and Gretel are all grown up and have become witch-hunting badasses. They then arrive in a town called Oxburg, which is a real place, by the way, and save an innocent woman from being burned as a witch by the town's sheriff. Then the mayor decides to hire Hansel and Gretel to find the town's missing children. And needless to say, the next 30 to 40 minutes are filled with all kinds of witch-hunting action.
Have a meteor go, "Rosh!" and it's all like, "Craw!"
Next, our 2 protagonists later learn that the evil Grand Witch is using the children as a sacrifice during the blood moon, so the witches will be immune to fire from now on. The evil witch then attacks Oxburg and steals the final child needed for the blood moon sacrifice. And then Hansel and Gretel chase after her, get beat up and separated in the forest for a little while. Hansel is then found by Mina, the chick from the beginning who they save from being burned, and they end up doing, you know. Meanwhile, while Hansel is off getting laid, Gretel is getting her ass kicked by the sheriff and his goons, before the troll Edward comes to save her. Hansel and Gretel find each other again at a crappy cabin, which turns out to be their childhood home. And wouldn't you know it, they end up finding a white witch's lair in the basement. And I'm sure you didn't see this one coming. It turns out that Hansel and Gretel's mom was a white witch. They then find out that their mother sent them into the woods to protect them from the townspeople of Oxburg, who were coming to kill her. And after learning this, Hansel and Gretel still help the people of Oxburg for some reason.
What? What the fuck?
The evil Grand Witch shows up and is the one who dumps all this exposition on them before she ends up kidnapping Gretel. So Hansel, Mina, and a guy named Ben, who has a thing for Gretel, set off for the final battle. They make their way to the witch's ceremony and unleash a bunch of steampunk weapons on them. Long story short, they win the battle and save everyone.
That's gay. We're gay.
Okay, now I know I like to make fun of every movie, But to be honest, I have always liked Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters.
I'm super cereal.
And this movie is a perfect example of a female hero character done right. Just like Ellen Ripley in the Alien franchise, or Alice in the Resident Evil franchise. You know, in the time before the Star Wars Mary Sue type infected every piece of cinema.
You're a queen.
For you Hollywood people out there, audiences do like female leads. We just like believable female leads. In this movie, Gretel kicks ass and looks good doing it, but also relies on her brother to do a lot of the muscle work, while she does more of the marksman work. But it's written and portrayed so each one complements the other as a whole unit, and the examples of this are shown throughout the movie. When they're fighting together, they're extremely effective, and a couple of times in the movie where they're apart fighting on their own, it never works out good in their favor. Now, I don't know if this was something that was written into the movie on purpose or not, but the movie made it clear that in order to battle powerful witches and monsters, Hansel and Gretel need each other to do it. And in my opinion, it works. Anyway, in conclusion, Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters is a good example of a balanced, fun movie before Hollywood got... So, what are your thoughts about Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters? Did you like it, hate it, or had no idea of its existence until now? And any other thoughts you have about Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters, leave them in the comments below. This has been Double JTV once again. And as always, hashtag Freak Nation, everybody. If you liked what you just watched, then please like, share, and subscribe. And if you didn't like it, then I thank you for hanging in there until the end.